Before we get going on this video, yes, me, Simon from What Culture, I'm wearing a Christmas hat because it's Christmas time and I'm not even a Christian. Let's not get into all that, because that's a different subject for a different day, but I just wanted to establish that I'm in the festive season spirit and I'm wearing a stupid Santa hat. Anyway, do you know what I've been doing mostly this week, other than looking for and buying Santa hats? Watching the XFL on YouTube. Why? Because rumours sparked recently that Vince McMahon has set up a new entity outside of the realms of WWE called Alpha Entertainment, which is interested in investing in sports and entertainment, and also more specifically American football. Now, the two things to take away from that are: one, it means whatever he's planning to do isn't going to be WWE's money, it's going to be his, and that does make a difference. And two, we mentioned American football, and as soon as you mention Vince McMahon and American football, we got to talk about the XFL. At this juncture, I will share with you that yes, on occasion, on some moments, I actually quite enjoyed the XFL, and I thought some of the things they tried to do were actually interesting. I mean, they didn't really pull them off very well, and some of it was actually borderline offences. However, I think their intentions were good. It just happened to lose a lot of money for everybody involved. However, if McMahon is actually planning to bring this or something like this back in the modern world, well, it's probably going to fail. Why? Can do it again because that's kind of better, but not getting there. Here's why. Straight up, I wouldn't wish failure on anyone. If Vince McMahon actually does go ahead with this, my initial reaction is utter respect from the man, because who else would go back to an industry where they failed 15 years ago and try again? That takes balls, that takes serious balls, and it's probably why McMahon has been such a success in other areas of his life. If nothing else, a lot of people wouldn't have the character to do it. They'd be worried about what other people thought. Not Vince McMahon. Plows forward regardless. But that's how he sees it. Failure isn't the end. Failure is something to learn from. And more often than not, we actually learn more from our failures than we do our successes. And on top of that, most of the time, your failures actually lead to your successes. So failing is good. He understands that, and maybe we could all start understanding that too. You could also argue that maybe with the current landscape, actually this is a better time to try and launch an alternative football league. I mean, TV isn't the beast that it used to be. YouTube and streaming services are getting bigger every day, and they're actually taking viewers and audiences away from the television, although not in some numbers as people would have you believe. And while there is a counterpoint to this, yes, in 2017/2018, what people want most of all is content. Now, some people do go too far with that. However, there is a thirst for content as long as that content can be viewed on demand or at the convenience to the person viewing it. Also, there are a lot of football fans jaded with the NFL for better or worse. Now, TV ratings are still okay, however, they're not as big as they once were, and some of them are actually proving to be seasons low this year. And of course, there's also that hoopla with Donald Trump and his feelings about the NFL. I'm not going to get into that here, but yes, Donald Trump and Vince McMahon are friends, and yes, back in 1984/1985, Donald Trump was the owner of the New Jersey Generals in the United States Football League. The organization folded when Trump supposedly pushed for a move to move it to the full season to go against the NFL. And as we know, that's always a really dumb idea. Kind of like when TNA decided they would go on Mondays and try and go head to head with the WWE. Sometimes it's just alright to be different. Just to add more fuel to this fire too, there are yet more reports out there that say Vince McMahon has filed for the trademarks URFL, UFL, and the tagline, "For the love of football." Bringing Trump up once more, a lot of people are also saying it would be financially backed by him, although obviously not directly, because, you know, politics and all this. So on paper, there is certainly logic to the idea. American football is still massive in the United States, and it has huge worldwide appeal too. I mean, every time an NFL game comes to the UK, where I am right now, and they put on a match at Wembley, those tickets sell out really quickly, even though the prices are up the wazoo. So there's a demand for it. People want football. What's not so black and white is what this new league would offer. When the XFL did launch, it was all about less rules and more accessibility, and it's going to be rougher, and it's going to be edgier, and we're going to have storylines. Because of course we'd have storylines. What it did with cheerleaders was nuts, but again, that's not the time to get into this, other than to say, never do that again. If American football as a whole was so broken that it was beyond repair though, wouldn't it be the NFL that would bring in some sweeping changes or do something to counteract this? And can such a decline in interest really be down to the fact that the average fan just wants a new product, or is waiting for a new product to just come out of nowhere? If you turned off from football because of everything that happened with Trump and some players not standing up for the national anthem, is another league starting that just so happens to be backed by that man enough for you to jump ship? Sure it is. There will be some, of course, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough to sustain an entire league. And on top of that, you've got the issues where it comes to star power, because you're going to need some huge stars. I'm not sure what huge stars they'd be able to get. It doesn't matter what the sport, you need players that are instantly recognisable and connected with it. And that's the same for the WWE too. One of the biggest criticisms we all have is that WWE isn't creating enough stars, and since John Cena, they haven't been able to create another mega star. And yes, since then, no one has come along to fill that void. There's evidence out there to suggest it's hurting WWE because you need big stars. It's the same issue here with the added problem that you're actively trying to compete with a juggernaut. If we go back to TNA again, it's kind of the same thing, and even then, they had Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, and that wasn't enough to even dent WWE. And sure, they were past their prime by that point, but wouldn't it be these type of people that Vince McMahon would have to turn to or try and entice to come across to whatever American Alpha is trying to do? Put it like this, Eli Manning is not going to the XFL 2. And this is where struggles will come into play. Intrigue is a powerful tool, and someone actually coming up with the new American Football League is going to be enough at first to get people to tune in. And if it does air in the NFL's off-season, then sure, you've got a whole market who may be so desperate to have football 12 months around, they'll go, screw it, I'm going to watch it. But you also need a USP, and I can't for the life of me think what that USP would be. But with that said, given the lower interest that does currently exist for the National Football League, maybe a new one would be enough to pique people's interest. And also, it's not going to affect the WWE. Their shareholders aren't going to mind because, as I've said, this isn't WWE money. This is Vince McMahon money. This is a Vince McMahon funded project. Given how much it did stretch everyone first time around, it really did, from resources to manpower. Maybe without that, you wouldn't struggle as much. It would succeed. You wouldn't break the camel's back. You wouldn't have to. As ever, no one can ever say for sure, but my gut would worry about this. And that's not to say I wouldn't be excited. I certainly would be excited if this did happen. That doesn't mean that it's a good idea. We'll just have to wait and see what happens in 2018 though. Maybe this is the last venture for Vince McMahon, a person who has always sought to find some kind of success outside of the walls of pro wrestling. I tell you this, he's got the cojones to at least give it a shot. So maybe, just maybe, we're going to see the XFL too. And can you believe that? And hey, for us fans with nothing invested in it other than our eyes, it's going to be damn interesting. So you do you, Vince. Take me for a ride, and I'll make sure I'm in the first carriage. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about the XFL. If you didn't see the XFL, go watch some XFL. Pretty soon you're going to understand what the XFL is all about. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, head on over to whatculture.com and have a look at that. It's pretty good. And follow What Culture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. My name is Santa Simon, because I'm wearing a Santa hat and I'm well funny. And hey, if you are watching this around the time the video goes live, Happy Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy New Year.